Hey guys. Yep, this is how I sound like. Today, I'm going to be reviewing all my art throughout basically my whole life of all the art that I can access. As you can see, there's a lot of art here. And this is actually one of my very first drawings from when I was very little. I know I haven't been online recently, or I haven't been very active, but to be honest, it's because I've just been very lazy to do art, because it takes a lot of time and dedication, and a lot of you guys have been asking me to post more and asking me where the videos are. So here I am. This is my first filler video actually. Just wanted to post something because it's been almost 3 months now. And yep, let's go right into it. So I'm not quite sure how old I was when I first drew this, but I know I was very young, and this was when I was still like basically not in school, I'm pretty sure. And my brother and my friend were very close and really liked Pokemon. So we would trace Pokemon, and even this as a trace, it still looked horrible. So even I wasn't a very good artist back then. But looking back at these, it really shows how much I've grown as an artist, and I'm actually, for the age I was, I'm actually pretty proud of these. So after that, I took quite a bit of a break from art, and it wasn't until 5th grade where I just decided that I wanted to try doing art again. And I actually drew these in class when I had free time. And these are my art pieces that I drew in 5th grade, where I would just look at a picture and I would draw it. And I know they look really messy right now, but for me being in 5th grade, I say they look pretty good. I always keep these on my binder, and like literally everyone at my school always sees these and thinks it's pretty good. And I would always tell them like, I drew this in 5th grade. Now I did a couple other art pieces before coming to this next stop, but I don't have any access to them and I don't remember doing any. So this is my 7th grade sketchbook that I did for my art class, and this is when I kind of started getting a little bit more serious, but I still kind of did it not that seriously and just for fun. So in our art class, we were assigned to do 30 sketches throughout the whole year, and there were some where I spent a lot of time and did a lot of effort, but I also have some that I just really did quickly because I had to get the due date for that trimester. So the first drawing of my sketchbook here, I have the starters for all 3 Pokemon from the first generation, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander. Now this took me quite a bit of time, but like looking back at it, for being 7th grade, I think I did okay and I was pretty proud of them. They're not exactly perfect, but they still look pretty recognizable. Moving on. At the time of 7th grade, this was when I really liked playing Overwatch a lot. So I decided to draw Zenyatta, which is a healer. And I took a lot of time on this. I kept erasing a lot, even just to getting the circles I spent a lot of time. But I'm very proud of this one because this was my first drawing where I spent like a lot of time and a lot of detail. And it's not exactly perfectly proportionate, but I still say it looks pretty good. Now this was when I first really got serious with drawing anime, and this was during the time where I just finished watching Naruto Shippuden, so I was really amazed with how Naruto looked and really wanted to draw it. I actually spent quite a bit of time at this after school, and I even remember drawing this in the car because that's how dedicated I was just to finish it, because I really wanted to see the end goal. But in the end, it's not exactly perfect, but at the point I was at my artist career, I say this is a good first major step I took in order for me. Now this is a drawing I did of a Pokemon, and this was because I didn't really know what to draw. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do a Pokemon. But looking at this drawing, I say it looks a little bit messy, especially towards the end, because I couldn't really quite get the proportions all right, so I just kind of like, okay, whatever, I'll just do it quickly. But I say I got the head pretty good. The tail is alright, but the body and arms looks alright too. But yeah, this one doesn't have that much detail, but it still looks pretty good in my opinion. Now there's a lot of other random sketches that I have in here, and this is one of them that I'm kind of proud of because it's very funny, because it's Snorlax and he's fat. Okay, this is another one of my filler Pokemon drawings, and really looking back at it, I'm not too happy about how this turned out. I think the face looks very weird, the hand looks weird, the proportions seem off, but this is all part of my progression of improving, and I just kept practicing and practicing, and eventually I got better. And this is just me trying to practice my skills. So, I drew this in my 7th grade year, around when Pokemon Go was very popular. So, when they first introduced Pokemon raids, Entei was one of the Pokemon raids. And I really liked the way Entei looked, so I decided to draw him. And I say this one looks pretty good. The lines look pretty clean. The proportions seem pretty good. There's some hiccups here and there, like little jaggy lines here. The face doesn't look exactly perfect. The feet don't look exactly perfect, but I think this looks pretty good overall. So, I think this is my very first drawing of Goku, and this was just me trying to get more and more sketches and kind of like try different styles of art. And this is when I first drew the Dragon Ball style. It was a little bit tricky for me at first. Like, the proportions in the head were pretty hard, but the face looks a little off, but the body I think I got pretty good, and it looks decent overall. And I just kind of sketched Son Goku just so it looks a little cooler. So this is me drawing Jiren of Universe 11, and this is when I started watching Dragon Ball Super. So I was really into the Tournament of Power, and I thought Jiren was super cool because he was like super strong. And I think I'm pretty happy with this drawing actually, because I think it like really shows like a really bad ASS view of the character, which I thought of the character as. And even though it's not exactly perfect, this is my second drawing of the Dragon Ball style, and I was pretty proud of how I really defined the muscles and even got some shading in. Now this is a drawing I did of Frieza, and just want to clarify that all of this is a sketchbook, so I didn't really try that much in a way. It was just all for fun and me practicing. So the face looks really off, but I think I got the body down pretty well. Some of the lines aren't exactly perfect, but then again, all of this is in pencils. So that's everything from my 7th grade sketchbook. Now I'm going to move on to my major drawings of my 8th grade sketchbook that I don't have. So I'm going to show it through my large screen on my iPad, which unfortunately I don't have the original sketchbook because I actually gave it to my teacher as a way for her to remember me, because I moved on from middle school and went to a new school for high school. You know, all that life things. Okay. So this is actually like basically when I just decided that I wanted to go more into art and more into specifically anime art. And at the time I didn't have any markers, and I was watching a lot of YouTubers such as Ayush Pencil Art, which is one of my biggest inspirations. And I just decided that I really wanted to start to get into this anime art. So this is my first drawing of serious anime that I decided to color actually. This is my first color drawing, which is of Minato. I know exactly that not all the proportions are correct, especially his hand is kind of big. The coloring may seem a little weird, but this was my first time coloring, and I'm kind of proud of how it went for the fact that it was my first time trying to color. And especially using colored pencils instead of using alcohol-based markers. I say I got good like differences in the colors to really show that depth of the character. So as time passed, I really wanted to get those alcohol markers. So I asked my mom if I can get some, and she did. I didn't get instantly those super good Copic markers that you guys all know I use now. I actually got some pretty, in a way, cheap markers that were still very good. And this is when I drew Vegeta. I was still learning how to use alcohol-based markers, so there's some hiccups in the coloring, like some smudges outside the lines. The colors don't exactly match his character. But I think this was a good first step for me, and I was very proud of how this looked. And I would show all my friends, like, look what I did, look what I did. And looking back at it, it doesn't look perfect, but it's definitely one of my favorite pictures or drawings to look back on. As for my next drawing, I drew Majin Buu in my sketchbook, and I'm actually very proud of how this went because I think this was already evidence of me improving in the coloring because I can see all these lines getting sharper, the shading getting more precise, and just the sketch itself looked pretty good itself. And I'm very proud of how this one went, and when I posted it on my Instagram, I got a lot of good feedback, so I was very happy about that. Moving on from the sketchbooks, I then asked my parents if I can get some paper to try to draw on, and I've probably experienced on like 3 different types of paper, and this was like one of my first paper I got. I was super happy with how the sketch went and everything. I thought it looked very good, but right when I started color, it left these splotches on the paper of color where I put the marker on. So I was not very happy in how it looked at all. But I still finished the coloring anyways because I wanted to at least finish it to see what it would look like despite having all these ugly splotches. I actually posted this on my Instagram but took it down later because I just was not very happy about how it turned out at all. For my next drawing, I think this is one of my most classic drawings, and by far probably one of my most favorite drawings. Half Goku, half Vegeta. This is when I first got this brand new thick paper that I still use now today, which I really love because of how thick it is. Thick. So, this took me not that long, but I was still learning how to use the markers, so I actually was very unconservative with my markers and colored the whole thing this shade, then this shade, then this shade. And it took a lot of time, but looking back on this, I think this is by far one of my most favorite drawings because it looks very clean and it's my profile picture now, but that will change soon, so be on the lookout for that. As for my next drawing, this is my Naruto Sage drawing. It's not exactly perfect, but I'm very proud of how this one turned out because this is showing my progression of getting better and better, especially compared to the one I had in my 7th grade sketchbook of Naruto, where his face is very unproportionate. And I think this is when I first started to understand more about how to draw Naruto's eyes, because Naruto's eyes was always very tricky to me. There's still some hiccups in the drawings, like, I don't know why I added the lines here. The legs look a little unproportionate, but that's kind of hard to tell unless you're really looking out for it, so. Okay, so I have to say, this is by far probably my #1 favorite drawing right now for the year 2018. This is very classic. When I drew this, I was super satisfied after it. The coloring is very clean, the sketch is very clean. My favorite part about it was the face. I really think I got that face down. But looking back at it, I really wish I could have finished it right here and then maybe out of a good background. But at the time, I was not very comfortable with doing backgrounds yet, and I didn't really want to finish it off here, but because, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have the picture for the one on the other half. But yeah, this is a classic one. As for my next drawing, this was actually kind of like a requested drawing that never got to the requester, my brother. This was me redrawing basically my 7th grade picture, but in a different stance of Naruto in his QB and Sage mode of Sage of Six Paths mode. And I'm really proud of the way the sketch looks, and this is when I tried to like do blending of coloring and really make the whole image pop. But I didn't finish the rest of the half because I didn't want to spend so much time sketching it because I wanted to try to get money off this because my brother requested it. But I I never got that money, so I just kind of left it like this. So this is the first picture or drawing that I tried to do a background on, and looking back on it, the drawing itself is okay. It's pretty basic. The coloring is okay, but this was when I first tried to do a background, and looking at it, I never really was satisfied with it. I don't really like the background, but it is what it is. Looking at the face, this is actually my first drawing where I got my first set of Copic skin tones, and I was super excited to color the skin tones. And I say the skin looks pretty clean, and his hair looks pretty clean, but the background... Okay, I'm going to be honest, this is probably my least favorite drawing, because I was not very happy about the way this looked. I was having a lot of trouble drawing the eyes. It doesn't look exactly like Beerus, especially for the background. I tried blending the colors, but some of the colors didn't really blend that well. I didn't have all the good colors to go along with the background, and I was having a lot of trouble finding a darker shade of purple, so I ended up using gray, which you can kind of see, which kind of affects the way the picture looks. Okay. So, this is also probably one of my top 5 favorite drawings, because I'm just very proud of the way this looked, especially with the background. I was super happy about how the background looked. I got a lot of positive feedback here, but even then, really looking at it at a critical point of view, it's still not exactly perfect. There's still some hiccups in the lines, but looking at it, this is probably one of my coolest looking drawings. Probably definitely in the top 3 coolest looking drawings, but my number 1 favorite coolest looking drawing is one of my more recent ones, which we'll get to later. Okay, so this is not the best drawing I've ever did, but this is one of my favorite and best drawings in sketch wise. I think I really got the line work down well, and the sketch itself very good. The coloring may need some improvement, but overall it looks good. But the background is a little iffy, but I think that's alright. For my next drawing, I drew Natsu as a Christmas present for my friend. And this is when I first got my Copic marker, so I was like still kind of experiencing everything. And looking back at it, this is probably like one of my worst drawings, so I'm sorry to the friend that I gave this to. Like, I definitely got this wrong. It should have just been a tiny slit of skin, because that's his arm. I got his abs wrong. I think the fairy tale sign could be a little bit bigger, and the background is okay. It kind of just looks a little bit like one big blob of color. As for my next drawing, this is my second drawing with my Copic markers. I'm very proud of this. This is my second coolest drawing that I have, in my opinion. This is of Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, just around the time when Dragon Ball Super the movie came out. I was super happy about how this turned out, and I got a lot of positive feedback here, and this is actually one of my second video up on my YouTube channel. You should go definitely watch that if you haven't. But just the way this looks, even though it's not exactly the highest in detail, just the whole thing itself, especially with the background and the stars, this is when I got my gel pen, so I think it looks very clean. And I almost forgot this drawing. This is a drawing I did for my mom, actually, because she wanted me to draw a drawing for her, and she really likes Sailor Moon, so I decided to draw Sailor Moon and Chibiusa, and I'm really happy about how this one turned out, because I think the coloring is very well done. This one took me a lot of time, and the sketch itself was very hard too, because this is the first time I ever drew 2 characters in one, so all the placement and positioning and proportioning was very hard to do and took me a lot of time. But with the stars in the background, with everything in, the overall picture looks very, very good in my opinion. Now, this is when we start to get in the big boys. This is when I drew Goku Ultra Instinct. This is probably my most detailed or like ambitious project I've done around this time. This was like basically the jump that I took in order for me to advance into more complex drawings. And even then, it's still not exactly perfect. Like, the proportions may seem a little off, but I'm very happy about how this turned out. It looks very cool in my opinion. The background looks pretty good. I'm still trying to get that aura effect down. It's not exactly my strong point, but using my gel pen, I think I really got down like the popping aspects of Ultra Instinct that distinct what Ultra Instinct is. As for my next drawing, I kind of stepped back a little and just wanted to take it easy. So I decided to draw another Dragon Ball character, which is Toppo as God of Destruction form, which I thought was very cool. And as I was drawing this, the sketch looked very good and everything, but when I was coloring it, I ran into a dilemma. I didn't exactly have the exact colors I wanted, and the colors that I was using, I was running out of ink. So it took me a lot of time because I had to actually order ink refills, and then once the ink refills came, then I could start to color it again. And I'm actually very happy about how this background looked because I had to use so many different colors. And you can actually see me doing it, only half of it though because I forgot to record. But I was switching off color and blending, color, blending, and it was a long time and long process. But I think the background is definitely one of my favorite parts of this drawing. Coming in as my number one favorite, coolest looking drawing is Bloody Captain Levi. This is probably top 3 favorite drawings overall. Actually, I think it's my second top favorite drawing. Maybe even first, but I can argue why I like my first drawing better. And I'm sure you guys can guess which one is my first favorite drawing. I was very happy about how this looked with all the sketching and then the background and the coloring. I'm super happy about how the face turned out with the blood. I think when I drew the skin, I actually used gray to do the darker shade. And when I was first drawing and coloring the face by itself with the gray, I thought it looked a little weird. But once I finished coloring everything, it just turned out to mix in very well and look very cool overall. Coming in as number 1, I'm sure you guys can guess it. It was my latest video that I actually uploaded like 3 months ago, so it's not very latest anymore. It is my 4-page 7 Deadly Sins drawing, and unfortunately, I'm not going to take it down for you guys because it's actually up on my wall in a frame now, so I don't really want to take down that frame, and it would be hard to put in this small space anyways. So this is by far my most ambitious project ever that I've ever done, and each character is basically a drawing in itself, so this is basically like 7 characters combined to one. The whole project took me 24 hours in the spans of 2 weeks, because obviously I had school. My favorite character in this drawing is by far probably Escanor as number 1, then Meliodas as 2, Ban as 3, Diane as 4, King as 5, Merlin as 6, and then Gowther as 7, because I think I messed up on Gowther a little. I was actually kind of concerned because I've used so much ink on this drawing, and I was kind of wondering if I had enough ink. And I actually saw this type of background style from another art YouTuber named Tolgart, which is also another one of my inspirations. And I'm really happy about how the background turned out and how everything is going in like this and from darker to lighter in a liney look, because I think that adds like an artistic style to it. And looking back on this in like 10-15 years, this will definitely be something that I look back on and think, wow, I did this. But yeah, so I'm sure I probably have some more art that I just didn't cover, but that's okay. This is basically all my main art, and thank you guys if you make it. So I'm sure I've done other art in the past that I just didn't cover in this video, but this is basically the main art that I did that I can actually access. And if you guys actually made it this far, I want to thank you for watching. And comment down below which one is your favorite drawing. And maybe comment what you think is good about that so I can know what I can practice more or do what I'm doing well. And also maybe comment down if you think I should try doing my own style, because I've basically just been like drawing the characters the way they look, but recently I've been trying to think about maybe drawing a character based off a new style that I create. But that will require a lot of time and practice, so that probably won't happen anytime soon. But be on the lookout for my first time drawing digital art. I'm going to be trying to use different mediums, but right now I still have to learn how to use the mediums. But my goal is to try to draw a new profile picture, because my profile picture right now is actually my half Goku, half Vegeta drawing, which, yes, I think is very good, but I think my profile picture should be something like that says my name and covers the whole channel as a whole, rather than just having Goku and Vegeta. Anyways, thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for my next video. Peace.